Assalamu alaikum. I'm Malik Hodge, an angel warrior of the Midwest and a messenger of the covenant, representing the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the self-taught one, Master Suleiman, who's given us the Injil, the gospel of revelations, with the Injil key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. This is Up Late Update with Malik Hodge on this Saturday, August the 6th, 2022. This is where we take topics and give the understanding of them through the unsealed scriptures perspective of the Injil, giving you the understanding of each topic and how it fits with the time, with the scriptures and the time that we live in today. Current events. We're going to start with Joe Biden. Joe Biden hugely consequential COVID isolation, a fatigued, runny nosed president Joe Biden entered COVID solitude on July 21st with his legislative agenda stalled. A standoff briefing with the House Speaker and an unfinished plan to kill the world top terrorist with a drone. More than 2 weeks later, Biden's second stint of isolation appears to be ending, with his agenda suddenly revived. Tension with China dramatically ratcheted up, and the terrorist dead. The 2+ weeks Biden has spent with just his German Shepherd for company have proved some of the weightiest of the presidency, with his once bleak legislative fortunes enjoying a surprise turnabout, and his foreign policy shaken by events across the globe. Even some White House staffers said they felt a certain degree of whiplash, and Biden himself has messed up confidence at sudden turn of events. It's been an extraordinary few days for the nation, he told the virtual gathering of Democrats on Wednesday. Left unsaid was how extraordinary those days had been for Biden himself, who oversaw almost all of it from the White House residence, isolated along with only a bare bones in-person staff. The brutal months that came before had lent the Biden presidency a sense of gloom, fueled by high prices, abysmal approval numbers, and spiraling questions about the president's ability to lead. Many problems like a growing outbreak of monkeypox, the war in Ukraine, and shortages of baby formula still persist, and a new crisis is emerging with China Democrat running for office this year are still putting distances between themselves and the president. Yet Biden and his allies are now enthused at the string of victories, which include passage of major pieces of legislation, a long sought agreement on a climate and taxation bill, a steady decline in the price of gasoline, and a surge in hitting a primary election this week in Kansas also gave Democrats new hope for the midterms. Biden, who instead negotiated for Biden, who instead negative for COVID, who tested negative for COVID-19 on Saturday, is preparing a victory lap of sorts with major White House bill signings scheduled for several days next week in the Rose Garden, the type of ceremony that had eluded him for much of the past year once he leaves isolation pending a second negative test. Well, Joe Biden, he tested negative today. Out of the past 7 days, they said 7 days straight he had tested positive. Today he tested negative. He feels he's going to take a victory lap. He had a major terrorist killed by a drone strike in Afghanistan. He made 2 legislation move with the climate bill and a tax bill. So even with him being in isolation and his um, occurring positive testing of COVID. Um, he's still in isolation with his German Shepherd, and just we keep a note on Joe with he's 79, and knowing from the angel perspective, he's of that age that the plague was designed to take out. So he's been fighting it, and now he's has a day negative, and they're testing him all, see if he can get another negative day. However, that's where we at with Joe and what's taking place with the President of America. So let us go to our next topic. What is that? Let's, okay. Since we are politics, let's go to Indiana. Passes near total ban on abortions. With that, they said that let's give the report that women can receive abortions. They have to go to a hospital. They have to have a doctor. They have to go to a hospital and go to a doctor. And the women are excused to have abortion if their life is in jeopardy, if they have been raped or incest. So they have some situations to where they've made it possible to have a professional, safe abortion. However, what's from the angel perspective? Well, looking at it and to see how the Democrats this system rears up and attacks with vengeance, trying to manipulate and force a city or state that has went into that have made the laws of their state or city that or the state but the government rears up and wants to force and make them accept what the government or what the Democrats want. That they want abortion to be legal. They it's and for the things they have out or left open for an abortion. I mean, if abortion needs to be justified in their justification of it, they laid out reasons when abortion should be justified. But the Democrats, this system wants they want freedom of sex. No accountability. Any reason why you want to get rid of a baby, you should be able to. You shouldn't have to ask nobody, can you get rid of a child? There's no rights or no laws for the child if the way they want it. But it only shows the nature of this system, the nature of these Democrats, the nature of America, the nature of the system itself, how it claims they're of God, they're righteous people. They're baby killers. They've been baby killers. They want to continue killing babies because that's how they make their facial creams and their different medicines, and they say that's what's in some of their boosters. So they want these stem cells and things, they want to keep killing babies. And they push that. They really want to kill babies. They get agitated. They start trying to make laws until we're gonna see about that. We got to change that. We don't like that. The same thing they doing with same sex. So with this, so since we talking about this same sex, abortion, same sex, homosexuality, queers, gays, we gonna get back. They had another reason, another thing out on the monkeypox, and we're gonna go in and pick up on that. This monkeypox thing of so monkeypox patients report excruciating pain and lack of guidance as U.S. cases mount. a second. My pages. Oh. Well, hold up. Here it is. Okay. Now the CDC says that monkeypox can survive on surfaces for 15 days. That's fine. No. Monkeypox. I read this because, let me read it. Why you don't have to worry about catching monkeypox from used cloths, a doorknob, or taxi seat. The White House has officially declared monkeypox a public health emergency. While the new title will hopefully allow the nation to provide more resource to support to individuals infected and curb spread of virus itself, the ideal of an emergency may scare some people, and already there has been some pretty nerve-wracking information going around about the nature of the virus, especially in terms of how it spreads. But as many experts will tell you, there is no reason to panic. Here's the breakdown of what we know about the spread of monkeypox and what kind of low-key precaution some individual should be taking, and why you don't have to worry about catching monkeypox from, say, a doorknob or shirt at a vintage store. How does monkeypox spread? Okay. Monkeypox primarily spread through skin to skin contact. What currently driving their epidemic is skin to skin contact through immediate physical contact like oral, anal, vaginal, sex, and other intimate contact like rimming, hugging, kissing, biting, rubbing, cuddling, and massage. Sarah matted an infectious disease epidemiology at Harvard Belfer Center explained to the Centers of Disease Control notes that in addition to direct contact with monkeypox, rash or fluid from a person with monkeypox into pox, you could also get the virus by touching objects on surface that have been used by someone with monkeypox or through contact with respiratory secretions. Wait a second. You could get it from touching objects? Theoretically, yes. But experts note that this is not how people have contracted monkeypox in most reported cases. The vast majority of the spread is from intimate contact among men who have sex with men. When it comes to surfaces, the monkeypox virus is a DNA-based virus and is a bit of a wimpy virus in that you can actually kill it with household disinfectants and UV light and the like. Maddox said this is the case with most viruses. Just because you have virus particles on the surface doesn't mean they'll going to cause infection in other persons. Now, I brought this topic back up because I seen that this was another student or epidemiologist at a different school, and they're still saying that in most cases that the virus is a sexually transmitted disease. They said it was caused by having anal or having multiple or random sex, and that contact with someone in a sexual contact, you can acquire, you can be infected by the virus. It's something being moved around, and it is pretty much in most cases, like almost like it was in high percentages that the monkeypox was in the queer and gay sexual social community. So it's being passed around from having anal or vaginal. Now they're saying even vaginal, anal, and it's showed up in places and people that are having lots of sexual contact. So this thing about it can be on the surface. You can kill it with UV, or you can kill it with natural, household products, disinfectants. With that being shared, that kind of heightens the mind to say, well, hold it. At first, when they was given this understanding, it was like this epidemiology It's sharing that it sits on surfaces for a matter of time. I did. How much time did she say? I think she said for, man. Let me see what time. How much time? That was a pretty good length of time. It sits on surfaces. It sits on surfaces for a little bit of time. However, this just make you, I seen other reports, other different reports on it, and colleges preparing for this monkeypox. So, just something to think on with same-sex marriages out in the open, queer, gay, and trans activity. I'm just thinking that, like, things that in areas you got to be really meticulous in going into, because some of the things that they do, steam rooms, swimming pools, private pools, these people be doing the most in areas in the public, and they the ones with this monkeypox. And if you ever see, you gotta be careful. You have to be careful. And this saying all this nation is not this world that we are in, this satanic Sodom and Gomorrah situation. Brothers and sisters, you gotta stay at home. Stay away, because if it's on the surface and these people is doing things in places they shouldn't be, they don't give a damn. They all out in public, hugged up, just doing stuff. And this monkeypox is thriving and getting that. If it's in the queer and gay community, it's everywhere, because they everywhere, all in your face, out in your face, doing this, taking this to it. It's a whole, and the whole system is backing and pushing this unnatural, sinful thing. But this is what time we're in. This is look at what the tree produces, and you can tell the tree by its fruit. You can tell where you at and what you're dealing with by its fruit. Let us move on. Let us move on to our next topic. We're going to go to the weather. And flash floods, once again, this weather. is not going to let up on you. Let us start with flash floods hits Death Valley. More than 6 months worth of rain fell in the matter of hours. In the area, record rains triggered dangerous flash floods, stranded at least 1,000 people, turning roads into rivers, wiping roads all the way out, and flooding cars, pushing cars down, and then filling cars up and with mud. Studies show that this is the second major flood in a national park, and it told the flood in Yellowstone. However, it's flooding out areas. At the same time, right up the street, right not too far, it's being burned up. Burning thousands of acres. It also said that dangerous storms are expected throughout throughout America. With the keep sharing with you, the low and high pressures meeting each other in the high humidities and still scorching heat throughout the Midwest. One moment you're getting a low pressure zooming in with this high pressure coming up from the south, and the low pressure coming through low pressure and causing these storms to produce going across the plains, across the Midwest. That are bringing storms and floods, torrential rains, and dangerous storms. And they have to just the meteorologists, this is the way he shared. It's hot, and it's going to be scorching in the south, and highs in the hundreds, and it was 100 degrees in Kansas City, and this in the Midwest is still triple digits, and it's going to be major heat in the Northeast, and in between, as he spoke about the West, the flash flood. But in between, there's going to be storms, major storms, major flooding, because of this high and low pressure. But he couldn't tell you where, but he told you he can let it be known that it's possibility from at any part to get a storm that'll pop up on you. So we have to get with you. We'll tell you when we see something. Basically what he was sharing. And then they also shared that across the Midwest it's still major storms popping up, and they shared again. Eastern Kentucky that has been devastated for almost it's over 9 days now, going on close to 2 weeks. They've shared that they are expecting another wave of torrential rain to come through there again. All through the South, parts of the South, all the way to Virginia and things. They share that storms. You might be looking for flooding. You know, just keep your eyes open. Basically, what he was saying, because looking at the systems, we have to tell you, just keep your eyes open, because a storm can break out any moment. Just giving you an understanding and let you, keeping us tapped in with this weather. We understand what the weather's doing. The weather is one of the weapons being used against this nation. From the unsealed scriptures, those that know how this high pressure, this weather, is being moved around. Who's causing these storms? They're not just happening on their own. So, just giving you an understanding of where we at with this weather. Another flood, tearing up, destroying, tremendous. 6 months, a half a year worth of rain in hours. That's what everybody keeps saying. So much rain fell. It was like somebody poured, the sky opened up and poured the rain out. 10 foot of rain just came. It was over. It like it would happen in minutes. So unprecedented times, unprecedented weather. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's see what our time is. We're doing great. Dum, 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 dum. This is the Middle East. Can I speak on China? Oh well. Well, let me see. I'm gonna speak on the Middle East, false Israel. Airstrike rocket attack push Israeli false Israel and Gaza into second day of fighting. So, for those that don't know, for the past 2 days, false Israel and the Palestinians in Gaza, which is in Jerusalem, have been fighting, having a clash that really was edged on by false Israel. In Egypt, trying to mediate before, let me hold on, let me get this situated before, because I want to go into this. I want to take this all the way. Okay. Egypt is trying to mediate between the two. And the Palestinians were trying or attempting to negotiate to make to clear up the scenario. However, the base of it, and watching and keeping an eye on the situation, watching how false Israel deals with the Palestinians. First of all, you have to listen to the wording when they're speaking about Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Mind you, brothers and sisters, that false Israel has been placed in Palestine, in Palestinian lands, in Palestine. So, the land they're on is in Palestine. It's Palestine, the Palestinians' land, initially. When false Israel speaks of the Palestinians, this is the mindset by listening and watching. They don't never dictate the Palestinian people are upset. The Palestinian people are enraged for X, Y, and Z. When they begin to speak on Palestinians, they begin with this this is how they begin with it. Palestinian Iranian proxies always throwing this Iranian proxy on the back end of Palestinians to use this in using it for a mind trick, switch to discredit or lessen who the Palestinian is, to put a negative ring on the Palestinians as if they're a negative, or they're a bag that's put on it to spin your ears, to cause them to be like the enemy, the do dirties, the wrong, the bad, the enemy, basically, the Palestinian, Iranian proxies. When false Israel is committing terror on them, going throughout the Palestinian areas, homes, neighborhoods, knock open and going in and searching their homes. We're looking for this. We're looking for whoever looks like, or whoever could be in a certain age or a certain look. Don't have to have a certain name. You don't have to have, but if you look like that, you are able to oppose false Israel, then you are a problem and they want you. False Israel said they're going, now you have to listen to how they speak. Benny Gantz said they're going to eliminate any threats or any possible threats of anyone in Gaza by any means, and for any for any reason and by any means. So pay attention to how they speak about the Palestinians. False Israel is terrorists, a terror cell, and always have been. They bomb, they just like America. Go in, they're bombing other people's countries, other people's lands. Go into Syria bombing, go into Iran bombing, and always trying to play like they the victims. But they the terrorists. They going house to house in these provinces, Palestinian provinces, going door to door, walking in, taking, snatching, and going through people's homes, at will. They don't need a reason. But People supposed to just sit there and let you do as you please, but you're not. They not going through false Israel, the Israelis' provinces, knocking on doors, going and shaking them down. The Palestinians is not doing them like that. And they're not doing their people like that. They're not inconveniencing their people. They're not just walking through their own people, through their provinces, going door to door, door to door, door to door. We're gonna wipe out anybody that we think. That's the attitude that false Israel has about the Palestinians, period. That's why they can bomb Gaza. That's why they can do. When the bombing started, who you think started the bombing? False Israel had shot the first airstrikes. They blew the first bombs. They went in. They the ones shooting and killing. First, they take the first steps. Oh, we ain't talking. We just gonna keep doing what we doing. We gonna keep taking out there's when you just gonna do what you gonna do, and you just gonna harass people, then they telling you we gotta do something. But you have to look at it from an angel perspective. You got your mind. When you can think and see, think. You got your mind back. Mathematics and understanding, and you can't get. I mean, it don't take a rocket science. Every time they speak about the Palestinians or Gaza, they're going to say Iranian proxies, Iranian this. Constantly feeding you the narrative as that they're the enemy, they're the wrong, they're the bad guys. They're the terrorists when they're being terrorized in their own land, on their own property, in theirs, by false Israel. And this, you gotta be careful. Benny Gantz, he pretty much like Bennett. They don't tell you. They got groups over there that are governing groups. They think they can just take and do whatever they want to the Palestinians. They can take land, they can kick them off the land. That's what they own. However, did I finish? Huh? Let me go on and read the report. Oh boy. Gaza, Jerusalem. Israel airstrike pounded Gaza while the militant Islamic Jihad group fired hundreds of rockets into Israel on Saturday as the cross-border clash continued into a second day, killing at least 6 people, including 4 children. Hamas, the Islamic group which controls the enclave, said the children were among the dead from a blast caused close to the Jabal refugee camp, and blamed false Israel. The Israeli military denied it was responsible, saying the explosion was caused by a failed Islamic Jihad rocket launch. It distributed a video which appeared to show a rocket being launched from Gaza last night and then veering immediately off course down into a built up area. Reuters could not independently verify the footage. While the Israeli strikes went on, hitting what military and said were weapons depots hidden in residential areas and destroying a number of houses, Islamic Jihad fired rockets for as solvers as far as Israel's commercial hub, Tel Aviv. At least 24 Palestinians, including 6 children, have been killed and 203 wounded during the days of firing, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Palestinian militants fired more than 400 rockets at Israel. Most of them false Israel. Most of them intercepted, setting off air raid sirens and sending people running to bomb shelters. There were no reports of serious casualties, the Israeli ambulance service said. Now, I'm going to keep on. Whew, I didn't know we was into that far like that. Alright, we're going to wrap this up. However, okay. So they're fighting literally and this is just I always say this, didn't know it was going to be take us this long. We got AND, but we got to bring this to a close, but as we wrap this up, false Israel. From the angel, the unsealed scriptures. When false Israel goes down and sieged and destroyed, we're going to use the Palestinians what they going to receive, because the Palestinians ain't going to forget, they ain't going to let nothing go. They gon' what false Israel got coming, they'll see in a few days. However, you're looking at this, they're literally, fighting. In the report they did, as you go through it, there was some casualties in Israel. However, the extreme actions that false Israel is willing to go to immediately against the Palestinian, or whatever, the Palestinian Iranian jihad, or the Palestinians, period. When you see their actions and their willingness to go to deadly extremes in no time, they have no remorse. In Egypt, trying to be a buffer between the two, false Israel is only playing the part to act like they're waiting and they're allowing someone to buffer. But they're quick to denounce. They're not hearing anything. They're making their moves regardless, and they respond just as that. Watch their response. Watch their motions. They're pre-calculated. The way they speak, everything is in war mode. False Israel, the abomination of desolation, the shock of the hour. This is what time we're in. Iran is not going back into the JCPOA. Understanding from the unsealed scriptures, the Injil, from the Injil, the unsealed scriptures, Iran is not going back into the JCPOA. Michael and his angels are going to war with the dragon and his angels. Master Farah Muhammad and the Shia Muslims, their 12th Imam, Iran and Syria are going to war with the dragon and his angels. The House of Saud, Saudi Arabia, Britain in America, Gog and Magog, false Israel, and 6 other Sunni nations that have made an alliance with the dragon and his angels in accord of the Abraham covenant, the Abraham Accords, that all have a common interest and common enemies. So when you see Saudi Arabia taken out, Britain and America kicked out the Middle East, false Israel sieged and destroyed, and those 6 nations that lined themselves up and get themselves erased with the rest of them. That's the abomination of desolation, and that's the shock of the hour. And after all things will be made clear, all gray area, all lies, all deceit, all the smoke, all the fog, all the deception that has been put out there of who the true seed of Abraham is, and everybody throughout the planet will know for a fact who the true seed of Abraham is. Where we at in time. You will see through the angel perspective and through the angel, to the lens of the angel, the unsealed scriptures. What's happening? Why? So with that, I'm gonna bring this segment to update with Malik Haj to a close. The shock of the hour. When they see who the true seed of Abraham is. The abomination of desolation. Michael and his angels going to war with the dragon and his angels. With that, I'm going to greet you as I came in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. See you tomorrow at the same time, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, and 9 o'clock Pacific. Once again, Assalamu alaikum.